Myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing about one topic, that is the highest part basically. The highest thing basically which is going to happen. For example, one of the person told that what is the highest thing basically which has happened in your life basically. For example, one of the person told that basically, for example, you have applied for example, you are divorcee. For example, I will take my example. For example, I am divorcee and I basically applied for girl basically for around 200 girls basically applied. I applied for the marriage basically. Applied means I basically sent the request. So more than 180 basically got rejected basically, and 20 basically not got reply basically. So that was the highest basically rejection basically happened in my life. Then basically the highest I basically fallen from the vehicle two time basically, one day basically, but little bit damage has happened basically, but not too much basically. So that was basically the highest. Then basically the highest food basically you have eaten. Highest food basically, mostly basically I had never eaten the highest food, but then also highest food was basically when I was in restaurant basically. I had two time rice basically, and 4 to 5 chapatis basically, and two times sabjis also. So that was basically the highest basically. But after that basically I never had that much that type of dinner basically. Then basically he told this is actually my example telling basically. Then basically highest basically resume basically I sent to the consultants. So that was basically that count was around I sent around 800 resume, sorry, 800 my resume basically I sent to 800 consultant and the companies basically. That was the highest basically, but there was no response basically from any of the one the automatic response basically was there basically. The reason is because basically the people who hires the people and their source basically are totally different. You will never able to contact to that source basically. You will be sending the mail basically, but they will never read the mail. Why? Because the mail which they read basically, that is email ID is totally different. That email ID basically you will never able to get that. That was basically highest. That was the 800 basically resume I got. Then what was the your highest salary basically you earned? Highest salary basically I earned basically was the highest salary which earned was I was 45,000 basically per month. So that was the highest salary according to the Gujarat city basically. According to the Gujarat city, that was the highest basically. Then basically highest post basically you got basically. The highest post basically I got basically, that is a software delivery head basically. After that basically this was the highest post basically. And for 10 15 days basically I was working as a CEO and vice president. My boss actually was not there basically, so I basically handled that post also basically. That also, so you can say as a temporary highest post basically. Then basically the highest thing basically I visited around 35 temples basically in one day basically in Vadodara city. That was the highest temple basically I visited. In this basically one church was there and one mosque was there and one Parsi Agyari was also there basically. Then basically the highest that you can say as a god place basically I visited, not temple basically, because in this mosque also there basically church is also there. Then basically the highest thing basically which has happened is in one day basically there are basically few friends basically. In one day basically I actually broken the relationship with three friends basically. Their friends basically there was some problem basically occurred, so I actually lost my three friends basically. Lost means relationship was basically end basically. So that was highest basically. Then the highest thing basically was happened is the highest day basically I admitted to hospital. That was around 10 days basically. 10 days basically. There basically my head basically got damaged, hand was damaged, my stomach basically got damaged basically due to some reason basically. That reason basically, that was some reason basically, that was some depression basically, doctor told that basically. So that was the highest basically, highest day basically I basically was in hospital to for admit basically, for admit mode basically. Then basically the highest thing basically which was happened is highest people basically died. That incidents basically I saw basically when I was in Varoda. I basically saw around 3,000 people died in one day basically in Vadodara city basically. So that was the highest city people died in Vadodara city when I was in Vadodara city basically. Then basically the highest people, and in Mumbai basically I saw basically highest people died in Mumbai serial blast basically, that was happened in the train basically. There basically around more than 50-70 people basically died. So that was also basically highest. So in city basically each highest people basically. So then basically the highest, I purchased the highest things basically. Long before basically I purchased the highest shopping basically I had done basically. That was actually I think in 2008 or 9 basically. I purchased a laptop, I purchased some keyboards, I purchased few pants and shirts of around I spent around 70,000 basically. That was the highest basically expense basically I have done basically in my history basically. So that was the highest expense basically. So like this basically the highest thing basically. Then basically the highest thing basically I done basically, I run basically I basically done the walking basically when basically I was 21 years old basically. My age was 21. I walked from Vadodara, from old Badra road to city, then basically city to some area like this. Basically, I walked for 70 kilometers. That was the highest walk basically which I had done basically. Then basically the highest. Then basically the highest. I drinked around 4 to 5 liters waters basically in 4 to 5 hours basically. That was the basically the highest thing basically. Then basically the highest. So these all are basically the highest thing basically which I had done basically. So one of the person told that what how many hours basically I work basically. So basically when I was working in Mumbai city, that time basically I worked for 3 days continuously in one of the company basically. That was in one of the company basically. That was the highest basically work basically where I had done basically. And that company basically when I visited second time to that company basically after my after I left that company basically, I basically was not able to give. I basically not got the entry pass also basically. So one of the person told that basically you have worked for this company for three days basically and not went to the home. See basically what you have given, what actually you got. So one of the person told that basically never love company basically because you don't know basically when company stops loving you. So nowadays basically company is not loving me basically because they are not giving me a single interview call also. So in the like this basically things are also basically there. So in next video basically we are going to see a little more about this.